Blue Jays Today, where today the Toronto Blue Jays have just made their first big signing of the offseason. They signed Chris Bassitt to a 3-year deal. Let's go! Let's go! Come on, guys, let's get hype in the chat. Right now, I see all y'all in here. 125 of you guys in here. Super hype for this Chris Bassitt news. In this video, we're going to be breaking down this deal, reacting to it, giving our genuine reaction, because as soon as I heard the deal, boys and girls, got off work, just started making the thumbnail, started setting up this live, and Nick was helping out. He'll be joining us a little bit later in the Q&A portion of this video, right at 5 o'clock. So guys, welcome in, welcome in. Let's get right into it, boys and girls. Let's take a look at what Ken Rosenthal tweeted right here. Making sure y'all could see our screen. Yes, you can. Source confirms free agent right-hander Chris Bassitt in agreement with the Blue Jays on a 3-year, $63 million contract, pending physical. First was Jeff Hassan, blah, blah, blah. Third highest average annual value for a starting pitcher this offseason. The most important thing here for us to know is that 3-year, $63 million deal. And at first glance, when I first heard $63 million for 3 years, my gut reaction is, yes, that's a great deal. Because a lot of these starting pitchers are getting overpaid. You had Taijuan Walker getting close to $18 million per year. We pay $3 more million per year, and we get a guy who's been doing it consistently in the last few years. We're going to get a look at his stats in a moment, but that's my initial reaction. This is a great signing. Great signing, and we'll go into a little bit more about where he'll fit in the rotation. But before we do, let's look at those numbers. Chris Bassitt. Yes, the age is there. We made a podcast a little bit ago talking about Chris Bassitt, how he could be a potential suitor for the Toronto Blue Jays. However, there's a lot of fear of the age. I brought that up personally. I was like, oh, well, this guy kind of reminds me a little bit of a Hyun-Jin Ryu, just in terms of age and how much average annual value he's going to cost. And yes, he is going to cost $21 million per year. But here's the thing. Chris Bassitt is consistent. We're going to look at the Savant page too to compare him to Ryu, but look at this consistency in the last 5 years. Shout out to Bethany with a don't know. Let's go. We're going to get to your question a little bit after there, Bethany. But look at this. Last 5 years, a 3.29 ERA. You know what you're going to get from Chris Bassitt. Even in a smaller sample size, look at the last 2 years, 315, 342. That's my one compliment. I have many compliments for Chris Bassitt, but that's my major compliment for Chris Bassitt is how reliable he has been in his career. And you know what's also true here, folks, is he can stay relatively healthy. 30 games, 27 games, shortened season 11, that was the max. 28, 11 was unhealthy that year, but still, that is consistency, folks. That's what you're paying for with the Toronto Blue Jays. You need guys who can stop people from scoring runs and give you tons of innings. 181 innings in his year 2022, 33-year-old year. That is really, really good, folks. That's what you want to see. That's as many innings, almost as many innings as Alek Manoah. Okay, let's take a look at the Savant page because this is where you get a little bit more in-depth detail. He throws a 93-mile-per-hour fastball. He's got 5-pitch mix, got a cutter, slider, curve. He looks like he throws it in about the same amount of time. So he's got some versatility with his pitches, not an overpowering pitcher. Now, I wanted to bring this up because, again, if we're going to compare him to Hyun-Jin Ryu, what was Hyun-Jin Ryu's biggest mistake later on, which caused him to fall apart in his ERA? It was the consistency locating the fastball, all right? Because it wasn't overpowering. If you threw it over the heart of the plate, you were going to get mashed. But if you look at Baseball Savant, you can see exactly what he's doing. Look, it looks like he throws his four-seamer right over the heart of the plate and his sinker as well. And it looks like he works off of it, works the slider off of his sinker and fastball. And he works the curveball in there. So it looks like he's very consistent with what he's trying to accomplish. He's not all over the place, right? If he was all over the place, you'd see a bunch of, this red mark would be a bunch of spread out. This is consistent. The changeup doesn't look like it's that consistent. He doesn't throw it that much, so it's okay. But look at that. In slider, in on the hands. In on the hands. He's a right-hander, right? So he's throwing it in on the hands of those left-handed batters. Swing and miss over the top. Back foot sliders. Curveball, same idea, right? And yeah, this looks like a guy who can also challenge people up and in. So you're going to work up, you're going to work upstairs, and then go down with the slider. Consistency. This is what you're seeing. He does not get hit hard. He gets weak ground balls, it looks like. Weak contact, excuse me. Doesn't get people to chase. So he's not a strikeout guy. All right, his strikeout's about the mid of the league. That's fine. Who cares? It's weak content from Chris Bassitt. He's going to give you a lot of innings because of that, right? If you're going up in pitch count at his age, you're not going to get as many innings. But because he's getting weak contact, he's going to force a lot of our defenders to play the ball. That's going to make him go more innings, save our bullpen. It all helps, right? And this is also why we got Kevin Kiermaier. We're also still looking for more defensive upgrades because with guys like Chris Bassitt, these are guys who need the defenders to play the ball well, right? So hopefully our boys can do that and not run into each other all the time. All right, I'm going to take a sip of coffee and take a look at some of your comments here real quick. I've just been going. I'm just so excited to look at Chris Bassitt here, boys and girls. Eating inning stop. He's going to get injured. No, he's not. Don't put that into the universe. He's been pretty healthy, okay? Maybe he's dealing with a couple like day here, week here, just based on looking at his page, but he should be fine. All right, this is something I'm going to switch back to me real quick. I wanted to take a look at the starting rotation projection. Now that we have Chris Bassitt, what is the Toronto Blue Jays rotation going to look like? Well, I'm going to find a graphic for you guys so you guys can take a look and visualize it. But you got Alek Manoah. He's obviously on top of the rotation. You got Kevin Gausman. He's on top of the rotation, right? These are two number twos, and honestly, or two number ones, excuse me. And then you got Chris Bassitt, who in my opinion is a solid number 3. Like actually a really good number 3. If Chris Bassitt was your number 2, then that's good. But him as your number 3 is going to be absolutely phenomenal. And here it is, Ben Nicholson Smith coming out with a tweet saying, Alek Manoah, let me make sure y'all can see this, that's great. Alek Manoah, Kevin Gausman, Chris Bassitt, and then you put Jose Barrios down to that 4 spot, and that is really, really good. Because we all know how bad Barrios' season was last year. It was god-awful. But if you put him down that 4 spot, you take the pressure off him. Because last year, coming into the rotation, I named Jose Barrios as our number 1. We paid him the big money. He was the opening day starter. Everyone thought he was going to be the number 1. Right? Kevin Gausman needs to prove himself a little bit. Alek Manoah, he needs to prove himself yet again, right, in his sophomore year. So now he's falling all the way down to number 4, which is good because if he can give you any upside, that is going to be phenomenal. If he can go back to a mid-3, even high 3 ERA in that 4 spot, that's good because we all know Jose Barrios can also eat innings, right? All these guys can eat innings. You guys see what's happening? Whereas the bottom part of our rotation cannot eat innings. You still got Yusei Kikuchi and Mitch White down there. All right, so there's definitely going to be a competition for that 5th spot, which is good. But do I feel confident in these last 2 guys? No. Am I happy with this rotation going into 2023? Yes, I am happy. But we all know injuries can happen, right? Injuries can totally happen. Underperformances can totally happen. We saw what happened with Barrios. So am I like, oh yeah, like let's go, like no more pitching needs to be added? No. I think that the next move for these boys, you still gotta add maybe some depth pitching. Maybe you make a smaller move in a trade with some of the catchers. A lot of news was coming out today about that, guys. Now that the Sean Murphy and William Contreras have been traded, is it time for the Blue Jays to make a move with one of their catchers? And if you do you bring in a young starting pitcher, or do you bring in someone like an outfield left-handed bat? These are options that Blue Jays are going to have to weigh because, again, I don't think that it's enough. I think it's if you were healthy all season, this rotation would be amazing. But if we're trying to compete in the AL East with the Yankees, with the Rays, right? Teams with really good rotation, really good depth. And then you get to like the Mets, for example, in the World Series. Are you going to be able to compete with them, right? The goal is not to get to playoffs anymore. This is a good enough rotation to get you to playoffs yet again with our lineup. Is it good enough to win you, a World Series? If they all hit, if Bassitt, Manoah, Gausman, and Barrios all hit, then yeah. But honestly, guys, they're not. I mean, we can't assume that they're all going to be good. So I think getting a little bit more depth, maybe get a young guy, maybe something, right? Something would be good. Also, real quick shout out to 447 of you guys in here. Guys, drop a like on the stream and subscribe to the YouTube channel. This is absolutely breaking news. If you haven't subscribed already, what are you guys doing? Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We post daily MLB content and Blue Jays content for y'all. So this obviously we do breaking news and stuff like this, like the Toronto Blue Jays signing Chris Bassitt. So guys, my final thoughts on this, I've been kind of just going, and it feels good. My final thoughts on this is great move. The AAV is excellent. We got the man, and I was telling Nick right before I jumped onto this. He was arguably like the 5th best pitcher on the market, right? So we got the 5th. We didn't get DeGrom, we didn't get Verlander. We may get Rojan. I don't know. You never know. And Senga, I would have said, is up there too. So I think like Chris Bassitt safely would have been a number 4, number 5. So we did it. We got a guy. We got a guy, guys. Yeah, we did it. We did it. Shout out Wardy NYN who's in here saying congrats, my man. Take good care of Seabass. He's awesome. Thanks, man. Hey, you take good care of Verlander. I mean, he was never our guy, but I felt like he could have been our guy. But yo, thanks, man. And take care of Brandon Nimmo too, who also could have been our guy. But yes, we got a guy, everybody. So guys, let us know in the comments down below, what do you think about this signing? We're not going to go off live right now. We're going to end this for the returning viewers. If you're a returning viewer watching this after we've gone live, we're going to cut this off right here. But if you're still in the chat, stay here. Nick will be here in a little bit to give his reaction. We'll discuss and talk about it. But for those who are just returning, thank you so much for watching. Let us know your comments about Chris Bassitt in the comment section down below. And as always, guys, go Jays, go!